We're back to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 o'clock shadow. If you're not familiar, please get familiar, because this is where love is. It is your boy Truth It, aka The Five, Mr. Five. And so that clip that I just played was Hillary Clinton talking about we need positive gangs, or we can have positive gangs. And you know what? I think she's right. I agree with her. A lot of people were outraged over this. This is not new. This is not like some breaking news story right now. This was a while back, but I happened to come across it today because when you first listen to it, it sounds really bad. Like when you first hear it, we need positive gangs. We need gangs. You know what? It's not a bad notion that we need gangs. It's a bad to think about it. So, in the sense that Hillary is talking about, right? The gangs that we need are gangs such as church. And no, church isn't a gang, but in a way it is. It has a lot of things in common with gangs. It's like, I go to this church. I'm part of this church. I am a member. So, when she was saying that we need more positive gangs, I think that's what she was alluding to. I don't think she was, but anyone can take something someone says and twist it around and turn it into something negative. And that's another thing that we gotta be careful about. We gotta be careful about what we say being twisted and perceived to be saying something that's completely wrong and out of line. And we have to be careful about being compassion-filled selectively. What I mean by that is sometimes we like to love people, because that's what we do here at the 5 o'clock shadow. The 5 o'clock shadow, I think from now on, is the war on hate. And the best way to combat hate is to love. So I'm all for love. The problem is that not everybody is for it. Or some people are for it and then they become selective with it. So you have to be careful for those type of people, not to fall into the trap of being loving selectively. Like, someone comes to your church. You love them, they're part of the church, they sign up for the church, they're involved in the church, and you love them. Then out of nowhere, they're like, you know what, we're not really feeling the Lord's Spirit here. I think we're going to go to another church. What happens? A lot of resentment comes, a lot of hurt comes, and then that could turn into not loving. But that's a selective love. There is a choice. We have a choice given to us by the Lord who we can love and who to love, and who we don't want to love. We don't have to. We're not forced to. But we are commanded to. So you have an option of saying no, but then again, if you want to go by what the word says, you cannot hate. You just can't. It's not healthy. It's not having selective feelings for people. This is a problem why a lot of things can't get done by people who have this problem, who don't understand this. I'm working with someone and they say something that offends me. All of a sudden that becomes, I can't work with them anymore. I can't rock with them anymore. I can't do anything with them anymore. And you could have built something so good together that you kind of shot yourself in the foot because you're not willing to work with that person anymore. I know some people get divorced because someone said something and they became selective with their compassion for them. Oh, you know what? Maybe if my wife did this, then I would do this. That's selective. Whenever you start getting into selective, that's like, it's almost like it stops becoming a relationship. It starts becoming a deal, like a deal with no emotion behind it. It becomes like a contract almost. If you did this, I would do this. But you're supposed to love people regardless. Regard. Because nobody's perfect. Listen, I've said some really, really, really hurtful, mean things to people, and they could have said, you know what, they're done with me, but they know right well it would be their loss. No, I'm just kidding. I am fantastic though. I'm just kidding. I am great. I'm just kidding. But still, the point is that we can't be selective with whom we love and whom we don't love. I love this person because they, or I love this person because they do this. You want to know what a good example of it is? So I remember there was this fight on I think his name was Corey something. Corey Spinks. Corey Spinks was fighting Zab Judah. Zab Judah is popular in his own right. He fought Floyd Mayweather. He lost, but he's what one would call an old boxer now. He's like past his prime. He's just there to get a check. So Corey Spinks was this young, new boxer, and he was from St. Louis. And Zab Judah agreed to fight him in St. Louis. So during the press conferences, anytime Zab Judah would even touch the microphone to get ready to open his mouth, they would be like, boo, boo. They poo-pooed on anything Zab Judah said. As soon as Corey Spinks started talking, they were like, yeah, we love Corey. We love Corey. We love Corey. And Corey was like, man, I feel the love from my hometown. I love you guys. It's so special. And you know, it was a tough media thing for Zab Judah. Anyways, they ended up fighting, and Zab Judah ended up knocking him out. Caught him with a flash punch. Boom, he went down. It was over. The crowd was stunned. Zab Judah was celebrating with like his cornermen and the people who he came with his little group, like 5 or 6 people. They were celebrating. And Corey Spinks was laying on the mat. They had to get him up, you know, check his eyes and everything. And the thing that caught me about that fight, I remember watching it. The thing that really got me about that fight was they went to him backstage, Corey Spinks. They went to Corey Spinks backstage when he was sitting down and he was unlacing his boots. And it was like you could hear a pin drop in there. All of those people who were cheering him on, we love you, Corey, cheering him on every time he touched the mic, all of those people were gone. Corey was there by himself. There were no more smiles, there was no more happiness, there was no more laughing. You went to they went to Zab Judah's room. Zab Judah had, like, they had champagne in there, they had people in there, women all over. The room was packed. You couldn't fit any more people in there. He was saying, oh, come to my after party. My after party is going to be in St. Louis. And, you know, it was like night and day. And Corey Hill was like, man, these fans are so fair weather. Because they loved him once. It's selective. They decided to love him when he was winning. And he was the popular guy. And he was undefeated. As soon as he lost, they had got what they wanted out of him. And then they just left him dry. High and dry. Zab Judah won. Everybody was all cheering him and going to his party and everything. That's the problem with selective compassion and selective love for people. Be careful not to fall for the okie doke. Some people in your life will love you because you have and love you because you do. But when it's go time and it really comes down to it, you'll find yourself alone in your room, shaking off the cobwebs like what just happened. Got to be careful about that. In the same way, make sure that when you're loving someone, you're not loving someone for a reason, for an agenda. You're not loving them for something specific. Oh, this guy got millions and millions of dollars. I love him. I'm cool with him. Happens all the time. Got to be careful about that selective love, man. Everybody needs to. So this is the problem with the. Yeah.
Yes. How you doing?
I am doing well. How are you, caller?
I was just calling in response to what you talked about with the comparing gangs and churches. I was actually talking to some friends last night about actually gangs,
Mm-hmm.
how the church needs to be more like the gangs, and in a sense, the gangs have a better organization as far as like taking care of their people, and
Mm-hmm.
not that the church doesn't take care of their people. Maybe we can learn a little bit from what, how why a lot of kids want to be in gangs and want to join gangs.
Right.
And you think about it, if someone joins a gang, they're loyal to protect them. They'll walk them to school or something. They'll
Mm-hmm.
take care of them, and as long as they're loyal, you know.
Yep.
But I think just the church has to get better at that. Has to
Right.
just get better at, what, where, for you and I, we have been friends for a long time, and we call each other brother.
Yep.
And I don't take that lightly. I view you as a brother.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people need to get that in them. Like, no matter what happens,
Right.
no matter if you go to a different church, if you need something, I'll be at your house in a minute.
Yep. That's how it should be. And thanks for the call, caller.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so right. That's how it should be. If you look at gangs, right? There are dudes in jail right now for crimes they didn't commit, but they won't tell because they are loyal to their gang. There are dudes in jail for life right now who killed someone for their gang and are still representing their gang in prison. It's like you have to understand why gangs are so attractive. A texter said there was an oldie titled "Everybody Loves a Winner, but if you lose alone." You know, that is facts. And you know what? That's a reason why some people join a gang, because they are tired of losing fights. They're tired of feeling alone. They're tired of people not understanding them, not understanding who they are. So what they do is they join a gang. So speaking of that, right? The gang mentality. This and how someone compared the gang, and how that was Pastor Adrian. Shout out to Pastor Adrian of Bay State Chapel. Bay State Chapel services are every Saturday from 6 to 7:30, 7:45. Every Saturday at Bay State Chapel, 166 Holden Street in Worcester, Massachusetts. If you want, you can hit me up, 774-823-4394, and I can give you the directions to the church, or I can help you get in touch with the church. But that is Bay State Chapel, 774-823-4394, 166 Holden Street in Worcester. If you got something you need prayer about, you want to hang out, you want to go somewhere where there's young people at church, every Saturday from 6 to 7:45, Bay State Chapel. Want to encourage you to go there. But there is something very interesting about people being more loyal to gangs than to churches right now. And how one of the things is, how far is a gang willing to go, and how far a church is willing to go. Some churches, if you say, "Look, I need someone to talk to right now," they'll say, "Oh, well, the office hours are from Monday through Friday, this time to this time." It's become too. It's almost like they don't care. Like I'm not gonna go too far. I'm definitely not talking about police and stuff like that. Remember, it's the 5 o'clock shadow. And we focus on love over hate. But when John MacArthur was asked about what's the church response to Black Lives Matter and racism? He said nothing about love in his response. Nothing. He said nothing about speaking to people's pain. Gangs, like them or not, and a lot of them are bad. There are a lot of bad parts of the gangs, but the reason why people stay loyal is because they listen to people's pains. Young kid goes up in there and says, listen, man, I ain't got no money. My family's poor. This is happening. Hey, join a gang. People join gangs because there's strength in numbers. I agree, Texter. But a lot of people, when they join gangs because something's missing in their lives, and being around more people helps fix those insecurities. The churches maybe should go to the hood and learn a thing or two about gangs. Instead of selling drugs, maybe they could sell them little orange Bibles, them little New Testament Bibles. Instead of doing drive-bys, they could do prayer bys where they drive by and just jump out the car and start praying for people. I don't know. But I was the church had a real, I really feel that over the past couple weeks, it was a missed opportunity for the church to really step up as the voice of reason and the voice of unifying and, I want to, not conciliation, reconciling, and come, get people to come together. They could have said something like, it's not about black lives, it's not about blue lives, it's about people, and God doesn't want anyone to die. So let's find a way to love through dark times like these. That's all the church could have said, had to say. But nothing. Zip. But I take that back. Not all churches, because I know churches such as Bay State Chapel who did step up and try to vocally, outwardly try to reconcile. And kudos to them churches that have done that. But churches need to do it more. Churches are they could be so much better if they were more unified. When gangs are more unified than churches are. That's why we got so many denominations. Oh, I'm Pentecostal. I'm Baptist. I'm Unitarian. I'm a vegetarian. It's like so many different churches. Gangs also make you feel important. It is a false feeling, but you are empowered. Yes. Gangs do make you feel important, and in a lot of ways, it's a false feeling. It's a false feeling, especially if you mess up. But but they do empower you, and not always in a bad way. Yo, what's poppin', homie? I just got, saying, baby mom just kicked me out. I need a place to stay. Oh, sure, you can come to my house. Hi, Pastor. My marriage is in shambles right now, and she just kicked me out. Can I come to your house for prayer? Gee, it's not a good time now. Can you come on Sunday during service? Just saying. And I am a Christian, so I'm definitely not, and I'm definitely not just talking trash or trying to talk down. It's something that we have to work on, but we're not going to work on it unless we admit that there's things like these that we have to encounter and work through. But it's all right, because I know for a fact it's going to, in the end, we're going to work through it. I believe the church is going to work through it, because I see some of the young new leaders in the church now that are also affected by the things that are going on around us today. And it's not just what happened this past week. It's about wars and attacks in other countries and natural disasters. We're getting we're getting a little serious about things, and I see them growing and coming into their own for the next generation. So I'm happy. Texas just said 30 people just got plowed down in a truck in France. And if you go to look it up, you don't see nothing about it on the news yet, at least, because they're still talking about Donald Trump and who's the vice president, who his vice president is going to be. But yeah, so, you know, I have faith that the church is going to, not the church is going to, that they are addressing these things. But man, it was just such a missed opportunity that we could have really touched somebody. Really touched somebody. But would you like, I'm going to give you all right now a tip. A safety tip. Are you ready? All right, here it is. Skinny people are easier to kidnap. Stay safe and eat cake. We'll take a break. We'll be right back on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 o'clock shadow. If you're not familiar, please get familiar.